guys, coming back from our first ride, let's summarize what we've just learned. Okay guys, so let's start with the good. The good is riding position, which is excellent for us. It's high, it's upright, it's comfortable. We didn't feel like we needed to replace the stem like we did on other bikes. This thing simply works. It's perfect. Suspension, the front fork. The front fork is probably the best fork I've ever paddled. Yes, I didn't have any Foxes or fancy RockShox, but this 130 millimeter Suntour is just perfect. It does the job. On a downhill, you feel that thing working. It came from the shop. It came with like 120 psi. It was super stiff. Luckily, we have those pneumatic pumps. So we took off some air and we kept it at around 85 psi, and it works great. Maybe some more fine tuning later on, but 85 psi seems to work just fine. Let's see, one more thing. The saddle. The saddle is very narrow and kind of hard and stiff, but once you position your sit bones on it, it works just right. I know that for some people it's going to be too narrow and too stiff, and you may want to replace it. Just keep that in mind. Let's move on to a little bit of criticism. Start with a little bit and move to more. The seat post. The seat post was sliding. Even though we tightened it, it kind of slipped in inside the tube, the seat tube. We did it twice and it still kept sliding. I'm close to 220 pounds, but it shouldn't happen. It should just be seated there. Probably some more tightening, and we'll check it at the store later when we bring the bike over for a tune-up, but the thing was sliding. Let's get into some heavier criticisms. Shifting on the bike. I guess the move from SLX to Dior didn't improve shifting on the bike, because this is probably the lousiest shifting we ever had on a bike brand new out of the store. And just so you know, in the store they tightened, they fixed, they even took apart the rear derailleur, because as I was riding in the parking lot I kind of felt it very clunky, and they said something was wrong with the way it was put together. They took it apart, put it back together, and then did some fine tuning. I went riding again in the parking lot. Still wasn't perfect, but then it seemed like they kind of fixed it. But once you go off-road, riding those gravel roads we have next to our home, and some more gnarlier trails, shifting is not good. I mean, you click once, you don't get any response. You double click, and then you get a shift and a half, like it's stuck between gears, and then you need to press the lever again just ever so slightly to make it work. And we didn't like that. I'm sure this thing will just work itself through as the cassette is wearing in and everything, but this is something to keep in mind. If it doesn't improve for the better, and after the tune-up, we'll have to consider what we're doing, either go back to an SLX derailleur or something like that, but we didn't like it. One more thing, pedals we got with the bike were awful. There's almost no studs on them, just heavy alloy pedals. We have to replace them. My son complained all the time that his shoes are slipping on the paddles, and I even felt it going uphill. No good. I saw on the website that they give those plastic or nylon GT pedals, are very light. I don't know how those work, but we'll just swap them for some Welgos or something better with good sharp studs. Let's see, one more thing if I have here. I think this is it for first impressions. The only thing I can add is the rear section of the bike. I'm so happy they are not welding it together, the rear triangle. It just seems to work. It's not like I can say that I feel any flex in the back, but it runs great downhill. You just feel like you're on a semi full suspension bike. It's not flexy, but everything seems to be one part and working together great. So this is what we got for now. Thanks guys for watching. We'll keep you updated as we do more stuff with the bike.